Much. A number of Democrats are pretty upset about Whitaker's potential involvement here in the Mueller probe. And one of those Democrats is with me now. He's Congressman Steve Cohen, who sits on the House Judiciary Committee. So, Congressman, welcome. Nice to have you back.
Thank you, Brooke. Nice to be with you.
So the headline at this moment on Whitaker is that, he has no intention of recusing himself. And like we've said, the Washington Post reports that folks close to him believe he won't approve any subpoena of Trump as part of this Mueller investigation. To that, Congressman Cohen, you say what?
Whitaker is obviously a hatchet man hired to destroy and strangle the Mueller investigation. And he wasn't going to recuse himself. Whether he should recuse himself or not is an opinion question, subjective question, that possibly could go to the courts, and the courts could make a decision. But the administration and the Justice Department will fight it with all they have and appeal it to the Supreme Court and hope that Justice Kavanaugh is the fifth vote that they need on executive power and executive privilege to thwart any questions of his objectivity.
So if you're calling him a hatchet man, you are the ranking member on House Judiciary, soon to be in the majority of the House. What are you going to do about it?
Now, I'm the ranking member on the subcommittee on the Constitution. Mr. Nadler's the ranking member on Judiciary.
What do you plan to do about it as a Democrat?
Well, at the present time, we've written letters to Mr. Whitaker to preserve all records and correspondence, and we've written letters to Mr. Goodlatte asking for hearings. Writing letters to Mr. Goodlatte asking for hearings, we might as well be writing to Santa Claus and asking him for a Lexus or a Tesla or whatever. It's just not going to happen. And I don't think Mr. Whitaker will respond either. But we're doing what you should do and what you would expect reasonable elected officials and appointed officials to respond to. Other than that, we can prepare for when we go into the majority in January 3. And there are legal avenues that can be pursued where members of Congress can take action to question his not making a recusal, and also to question his appointment, whether or not it's a vacancy or not, whether it was a voluntary vacancy or whether he was fired, and whether or not he had to be approved by the Senate at some time, or whether it's a recess appointment. I think the committee's looking at all those things. Beyond that, I'm going to go to the protest today in Memphis. There's one today, and there's one on Saturday. I hope to be able to go to too, and let people know that we're listening, we hear them, and we share their concern that our democracy is under attack, and that this is an open and notorious and brutal assault on our democracy and on transparency and on justice.
Forgive me, of course, Jerry Nadler. I was just reading a statement yesterday, and he feels as forceful as you do, Congressman. But we've heard from Senator Lindsey Graham, and I know it was last year, it was last summer, when he had warned that there would be, quote, holy hell to pay if Jeff Sessions was fired. What's the hell from Republicans right now?
Well, hell is having to be quiet when they see justice being trampled upon and injustice being encouraged. I don't see anybody rising up to do anything. I mean, I think I heard Senator Collins say something. The Republicans are all, well, there's a few of them. There's a handful that are pretty good on talk. There was a line in chorus line, something about looks X and dance whatever. In this case, I think of the Republicans, they're talk 10 and votes in action 1, if that. And we've gotten very little out of them, whether it's whoever it's been. Somebody over there needs to stand up, but I doubt they can find enough votes to go with the Democrats to do anything. We've got a bill to protect Mr. Mueller. I had that brought it up on the floor of the House and brought a motion to bring it to the floor, and it got about 183 Democrat votes, but the only Republican that would sign on, we only had one, and that was a shame.
What can you do with that? You're about to have the majority.
Well, if we could get a majority, we could force a vote on the floor. But you've got to get a majority to bring it out of committee and to the floor for a vote. And we'd probably get every Democrat when we come back, but that's still 193. And you probably wouldn't get many Republicans. Now, there's a chance we could get, who knows what Mia Love and Carbello and Mike Kaufman and the others who President Trump read off yesterday like he was doing a Rosh Hashanah Kol Nidre kind
when he was
of
publicly
speech
shaming
about
them,
who died the previous year.
Yeah.
It was like when I'm in temple and they read off the names of the dead of blessed memory. He was doing the best impression of a rabbi I've ever heard from a president. And if those people, there's still a lame duck, and he needs their votes on some bills. And if I were one of them, I'd be like Ryan Costello, who showed his anger, and he sent or it's not his anger, but his revulsion at it, and he sent out a tweet. Ryan Costello's a real good Republican who resigned or retired rather than run for re-election because of the redistricting, and he didn't like what Trump was doing. And Ryan's a great guy, and he's the kind of Republican you need. But he found it so abhorrent that he was singling out Republicans who got beat because of Trump, and him saying they lost because they didn't love him, and talking about him like, sayonara, I don't care about you because you didn't love me. I mean, it was a strange show yesterday. It was a very bizarre show. And, you know, it's like the president needs a vacation.
Well, he's got a few more years, and then maybe your party can. Well, we'll see what happens in 2020. And, maybe your party can send him off on a longer vacation, but that's going to be up to America, and we'll see what happens in 2020. In the meantime, Congressman Cohen, thank you so much for swinging by. It's nice to see you. Club Med correspondent.